What's up, guys? Just waiting for a couple of you. Who's in? Everyone in? I only see 3 people. Now I see 6. All right, we're getting there. All right, we're gonna get started here. It's obviously recorded, so anyone who misses any can go back and see it. Yeah, sorry for this week, guys, and last week. Basically, just been freaking bombarded. Got a venue nailed down though for the November conference. Who's gonna try to come down for November? Any of you? Obviously, free admission. Nice. Sweet, guys. So we put a deposit down for Scottsdale Plaza Resort. It's a really like conference based kind of resort. It's got a cool ballroom. It should be sweet. It should be really cool. But it may end up being Kierland Weston. Over the next couple days, we're gonna decide for sure. So, yeah, it should be awesome. As soon as I have the exact details, I'll get it. I'll post it in the chat for you guys. I just need to know for sure who's going to be coming, so that I have an accurate head count for like the catering manager. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, the next couple weeks will be a little hectic, but that's okay with me. I'm not too concerned. We're going to get a ton of work in over the next year. So if I do miss some days, just bear with me. You guys are the only ones really getting any private time. So we'll make up for any time that gets missed. Just bear with me, like I said. Jesse, it's between 2 weekends right now. It's between the weekend of the 5th and 6th and the weekend of, we have both weekends blocked out for us already. So Sunday the 4th, Monday the 5th, or Sunday the 18th, Monday the 19th. It's going to be one of the two. Let's get to some trading. Anyways, like I said, yeah, I'll get you guys all details as soon as I have the exact details, you guys will get it. And then I'll get a head count from you guys, and we'll try to come up with a time either before or after. We'll see who's coming and whatnot, where we can get together and do like a private session. Maybe the day before, the day after, and whoever wants to play golf or something like that, we can get around into. Okay. So I'm sure some of you watched the small video I did on bottom bouncers. We did a whole webinar on bottom bouncers prior to that. And I told you guys I've been kind of looking for them. I haven't been able to trade this week yet. I'm sorry, I did make a trade yesterday. What the hell did I trade yesterday? What the hell did I trade? Who knows what I traded yesterday? It's been a blur. Let me see. Say Wednesday. I didn't trade yesterday. Sorry, I wasn't able to trade yesterday. Monday was TIS. Sorry. And TIS is another bottom bouncing play that's actually I'm watching right now into close. This is one of my top watches. It's done about 2 million in volume, but you can see it's sitting right at this breakout level from 2 days ago. Let's see, high 265, and it's just sitting there right now. But I played this on Monday, and you can see here, this is another bottom bouncer like we've been talking about, and this is a perfect example. And so I had been watching for this. TIS was obviously hectic in the morning. I sat down. If you guys were in chat, I had sat down literally like right into this action right here. Whenever I see halting, like if I'm not in by the first halt, I'm not going to get in for the most part. There are exceptions to that, obviously, but you can see this thing was gapping up and down 30-40 cents, and it wasn't, you know, there was no real edge playing this. But bottom bouncer. So we had 5-6 halts, and then it did stabilize. And like, if you guys watched my video already, this is what we were doing, or I explained it. But basically, you have like the start of this downtrend, which I'm always aware of. Like, it's not a be all end all for me, or trend lines, but that's kind of like the line that I start picturing in my head. Like, whenever I see a lower high, I tend to maybe throw a line there just to see how this is going to react the third time it gets up to this line. Obviously, in this case, really clean break of that and hold. It couldn't really continue to break down. So the trend wasn't able to establish itself, and I ended up taking shares here in the twos. I got like 10,000 shares, and I sold them way too early. Like, this thing was already up 150 or 160%, whatever it was. So the size was a little bit big for me in this scenario, especially that I'm kind of chasing, not buying, like, you know, the support down here. That being said, I was also, here are the two things that got me into this trade. Well, three things. First off, the pattern. This is the in-play pattern, these bottom bouncers. Second off, the volume. It was doing good volume once it settled too. So the fact that it perked off this 190 level, I was watching that, but then set a lower high. And then I was watching 190 thinking if 190 breaks down, VWAP at 180 could easily break down, and then you're going to confirm this downtrend most likely, you know. But in this case, instead of 190 broke down, I think people are definitely shorting up here this 190 crack. I don't see how you wouldn't. I mean, still risk reward decent. You could still build into a decent position. But the fact that 190 cracked and then I watched it hold 185 like really easily, I think it was just a quick short trap here is what was going on. VWAP held, and then you got to break above this downtrend line. And so I was kind of comfortable taking size, knowing that, you know, I got VWAP underneath me still. I have 190, 185 underneath me. But I was basically going to cut if 2 broke back down real quick. I mean, it was kind of a momentum play and positional play, if that makes sense. I did like this little short trap in here and then the break over the downtrend. So for me, that was enough to get in. For me, this is a scalp. Like, I mean, I basically scalped this, and I was just concerned about this, like a 2 breakdown here, which it's held to really well. It held to, it held that 190 support again. I took my eyes off of it and actually wasn't trading this morning again. So you can kind of see, here's the 30-minute chart. Day 1, 2 held. 2's basically held for 3 days now, and now it's perked off that 2 level finally. You have shorts several days who are trying to swing short this and get it back down to $1, finally capitulating. And now it's really consolidating nicely. I mean, if you look where it's consolidating above VWAP, above this, you know, right at this resistance level here, we'll see. I think this thing could actually squeeze more. Pattern's correct and whatnot. Let's see. I'm talking about Monday. Yeah, David, sorry. I haven't been looking at the questions. I'm talking about Monday TIS. But for me, like I said, it was kind of a scalp. It was up so much. And once this thing, and we've spoken about this, but once this bounces enough on day 1, like plays over for me. So even buying up here in the 2s felt really risky. You know, any of this volume up here could finally be the top. That being said, I see this possibly having another squeeze to like $3-4. I don't think the real squeeze is even in yet. We'll see. But we're working on kind of a multi-day breakout right now with some decent consolidation. I like the pattern on the daily. So I'm keeping an eye on this. As far as building a position, do I want to build a position up here? Yeah, I mean, if 260, 255, if 250 holds going into the afternoon, you know, I'm very likely to possibly take a swipe at this. The other one I'm watching right now is TNXP. It's the same pattern. Big gap down. Now, I haven't gone through the filings yet. We can do that. I have no doubt something happened here, either bad phase news or a filing. I'm sorry, or an offering of sorts. So, has anyone done any research on the SEC filings for TNXP and this gap down? Does anyone know what the reason for this gap down is? I'll keep talking, but if you know, go ahead and let me know. But this pattern's been in play, like even with the gap down. You know, I mean, it's been in play, so it's something I am watching. They released news midday about presenting phase 3 and phase 2 results in a presentation on the 20th. So I believe the 20th is Monday. I think Monday. So Monday we know there's going to be results. This thing, phase 2, phase 3 results, this thing, regardless of what's sitting here waiting for it, could possibly, you know, go for kind of a gap fill scenario just leading into phase 2, phase 3 results, which to me, I mean, it's not, you know, they're letting you know on the 20th they're releasing results. They're probably going to be positive. In my experience, when they're saying like, hey, we're going to release results at a presentation on Monday, generally they're not going to waste time doing a presentation for a failure of a drug. So this is a catalyst that could possibly move this stock for a couple days, and then who knows what will happen on Monday. And this is something I'd look to possibly swing if there's not too much danger in the SEC filings, just in anticipation, and I'd probably get rid of all of it by Friday, you know. It's something I'm going to watch. Next one, PTIE is the bigger gainer today. Same pattern, you know, to an extent. Stock hitting 52-week lows. What was the news on PTIE? They were awarded $3.2 million grant to study Alzheimer's. Okay, so that's good. It's a good catalyst. You know, they're receiving $3.2 million grant. Do I think it has legs? Probably not. You know, it's not one of those things that probably has legs. And I'd imagine this resistance up here will act as final resistance if it can keep going. PTIE is something you need to go through the filings on. But yes, a totally similar pattern to all of these. Like, you guys have kind of noticed what's going on, obviously. The key's recognizing it early. So like we spoke about this already last week. I had noticed a trend starting to occur, and this is a super important lesson, man. This is like where you can have an edge over so many people who just have no clue what's going on. You know, when plays like this run in bunches, it's not a coincidence. It's just the pattern that's in play. Sorry, I'm watching PTIE. It's just the pattern that's in play, at least for NASDAQs. You know what I mean? Like, OTCs are a totally different beast. You know, when you get a pattern like this, this is not an OTC pattern, in my opinion. This is like strictly a NASDAQ pattern that comes into play. I've seen it like 5 or 6 times now, and especially with my smaller accounts in the past, I made really great returns because I was able to buy up quite a few shares of these cheaper stocks. You know, stocks hitting 52-week lows and then catching 50 to 100% bounces intraday, you know. But it's a sketchy pattern, you know what I mean? Like if you're not in early on these patterns, it's very sketchy. Like it's a dead cat bounce for the most part on most of these plays. On plays like this, PTIE, on plays like TNXP, especially being biotechs, these gap downs are a cause for concern for me to where I'm probably not playing them. You know what? Let's screw it. Let's just do it while we're getting this webinar in. Let me see here. There we go. Okay. Filings. Let's rock. All right, so let's start with, and let's do it quickly because we're going to get into power hour here in a minute. PTIE, disclosures. Let's go through the filings. Make it easy for me, baby. 8K, let's check out the last 8K just because there's only one to look at. Okay, according to the FDA, submitted the NDA do not support the conclusion benefits outweigh the risks. It's a bizarre conclusion to reach, especially during time of staggering opioid. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, PTIE. I remember them. So they actually Ramoxi. It's supposed to be an alternative to, like, you know, Percocet and Vicodin, whatever. So that's not good news. The fact that. And that might be what this drops from. I'd imagine that's what this drops from. David saying drop was due to FDA calling drug more risk than help. Yeah, exactly. So in this case, for PTIE, and let's go through the 10Q anyways. Here's the 10Q. So for PTIE, the drop was due to, yes, the FDA saying that. And now we have got this going on. Neptune. Oops. Sorry, one sec, guys. 3.2 million grant to study Alzheimer's. So there's kind of some conflicting things going on in terms of what's going on with this stock in the news. 10Q, quickly, cash equivalents. Okay, nothing crazy there. Liabilities, stockholder equities, fine. Nothing crazy there. We're just going to do a quick control F for warrants. Nothing that I see here. We're going to do a quick Control F at the market. And some of you may recognize this from Gritani in the challenge webinars, and I freaking jacked it from him. It's the easiest way to look for warrants and at the market common and at the market issuings. At the market issuance sales agreement February 18th. February 18th, entered into capital demand sales agreement or at the market agreement with Jones in accordance, able to sell up to 16.9 million shares of common stock from time to time, one or more public offerings. During the 6 months ended June 30th, we sold 300,000 shares, and this is up until June, so 2 months ago, month and a half ago, whatever it is. Selling at about $6.70 per share for 1.9 million. So we do know that there's 15 million left as of June in this at the market offering. That I do not like. Okay, so like for me, PTIE at this point is not going to be overnight for me, and I'm not going to trade it. It's not worth it to me. Now, they're not dumping hard, but this is the first day they've had like good volume in a while. Really good volume, you know? So, I mean, I could see them using it into this. And certainly as the volume dies off and they issue more shares, it's just going to get worse. So for me, PTIE, no overnight play. I could be wrong, you know. I mean, there are no warrants in this gap that would stop this thing from moving. But there is an at-the-market offering, which is almost worse. And they can use this anytime they want. So at any point, you could be diluted. The supply will outweigh the demand, and the stock can't go up. So definitely a potential short in the future. More a potential short than a potential long at this point. Let's see. Does that make sense? That's like the very, very, very bare bones way of going through a 10Q to find warrants and at the market offering. So bare bones. But it's enough for me to see that and then have it weigh on the trade. You know what I mean? Super important. Like, I know there's at the market offering here, and I know it's big. So yeah, they received 3 million, but how's that going to sustain this thing, this move? I don't see it happening. So good catalyst, don't get me wrong, especially when you got the FDA saying that there's no point, that the benefits don't outweigh the risks. But then they're getting a grant to study Alzheimer's. So it's kind of one of those things that I don't feel great about holding this long overnight. Can it move? Of course. You know, you can always be wrong. I'm wrong a lot, guys. Like, I'm wrong a lot, just like anyone. It's just a matter of protecting myself as much as possible and increasing the odds that my trade is going to work. The fact that there's an at-the-market offering is a big thing, you know? Now, they may not use it. You don't know if they're using it. We do know that they are using it. We do know that between February and June, they issued 300K shares. But then I like to look like February through June. February through June, it wasn't like they were doing huge daily volume. This is the first big daily volume that they've done since back in January. So all things considered, you know, we're looking at the catalyst. Okay, good catalyst. Good catalyst. Pattern's okay, but, you know, more so for this morning. I'm not necessarily trying to take these dead cat bounces into day 2. Does that make sense? That, you know, that's kind of the goal. The goal for me is day 1 morning. This is more of a morning play for me. So at this point, the risk reward has dramatically decreased, and the only level that I could really get in on is like $1.80 of VWAP holds. But if that cracks, then you're looking at the rest of the day fade. You're probably done. So dead cat bounce complete. TNXP. Jesse's saying drop was outcome of phase 3 honor study. Study will stop due to inadequate separation from placebo. Yeah, that's not good. Tango, I can't see your picture for some reason, but David said, how did you see how many shares they had to dump? That's really simple. You just go to the offering, which we were on earlier. Here's the offering here. Up. Can you see that? You might not be able to see it. Yeah, you should be able to. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. Okay. At the market agreement. At the market meaning they can sell into market, into the open market. So when you're buying shares, it may be new shares. Do you see what I'm saying that they're selling? Not like an organic buyer-seller scenario. We are able to offer and sell up to 16.9 million of our shares of common stock right here. So we know the amount that they're able to sell with their at the market offering. Click open original. What the hell's open original? Oh, okay. Okay, so here we go. 16. I see the picture now. Thanks, man. 60.9 million shares. There's the amount. From time to time, in one or more public offerings of our common stock, in transaction pursuant to shelf registration declared on July 31st. During the 6 months that ended June 30th, 2018, so between the date of the offering on February 8th and June 30th, which was last month, a month and a half ago, they sold 300,000 shares in the open market at an average gross price of $6.70. So they sold 300,000 shares at $6.70 for net proceeds of $1.9 million. So we know, so you just subtract that 1.9 million from the 16.9 million, you have the amount that is left in this offering. Okay, so we know there's $15 million of shares left that they are able to sell into market. That's really simple, you know, simple math. As of July 24th, we had up to 14.7 million shares of our common stock available. So they even tell you right there, as of July 24th, or 1 month ago, a little under a month ago, they have 14.7 million left. Yeah, so that's kind of the simple breakdown of at the market offerings, and just finding the amount. And it's important. You just want to know if it's there. Okay. Now I'm not going to say I never trade a company that has an at the market offering. Okay. I'm just saying that it's good to know it's there, and most likely I am not going to trade it. You know, I don't need. I can wait till if this thing could go ballistic, that's fine. I can wait for something a little bit more safe. That's all. Mike said not sure if it's him, but he needs to study something that basically explains dilution, ATM, and warrants, since it sounds like something you must know of struggling to understand. So I'm going to try to put it as simple as possible for you. All of you have seen offerings. All of you have probably, myself included, lost money due to being overnight in a stock with an offering. And you guys should know the process by now, which is pump the stock for the most part, and then sell at half price or whatever the price they're going to get is from an institutional investor, quote unquote. And you know, there are banks and investment banks that specialize in providing financings to penny stocks and higher risk stocks. But you better believe if they're higher risk companies, which are penny stocks, they are higher risk. A biotech with one drug in the pipeline, very high risk for an investment banker or investment bank to put money into, very high risk. But the companies need money. So there are obviously, you know, a handful of banks, and you'll see them time and time again, that do this. They provide these offerings to these companies to provide cash liquidity. Like these companies need cash to continue their operations. And this is where these banks step in. So they're going to get a big discount on the market price of the stock. B, usually they're going to get warrants. And this is just a straight up offering. So say a company has 1 million share float, okay? And the stock's trading at $5. Well, they need cash. They can do an offering with one of these investment banks at $2.50. So 50% discount to the market rate. You know, they're offering 20 million shares at $2.50. So that's so now the float is going to be essentially diluted by 20 million. So the float is no longer small. It can no longer move as fast. You usually get a dump, and a lot of times, just on average, you'll see it dump down to the offering price. Like, people don't want to be holding stock. A, they're being diluted. B, they're being diluted by someone who's buying the stock at a much lower price. It's just usually a bad thing. Now, sometimes there's like a biotech with great phase news and whatnot, and they'll get a really good price on the offering, and the stock can still go up because they've, maybe the company does need cash, but now they don't, and they're in a much better place to continue on, and the news is that good it can sustain itself to the upside. But for the most part, with penny stocks, it's not the case. So there's just the straight up offering, shares, warrants, and that's just like straightforward dilution, in my opinion, like the way I look at it. So then there's another case of dilution, which is an at the market offering, which is instead of having it be a lump sum sale to an investment bank, it is more of it's exactly what it sounds like. It's at the market. So like from time to time, and this is the language that they use. From time to time, they're able to sell shares into the open market. So like I said, you could be buying shares. If there's an at the market offering, you could be buying shares that are new shares that are being sold into market and not from someone who is buying and selling shares, or even a short seller selling shares. And that's why at the market offerings can really hinder a stock's movement. That's dilution. Dilution is just what it sounds like. There's 1 million shares in the float. They do an offering. Now there's 20 million shares in the float. So now your portion of the company is smaller. Your percentage ownership for the same exact amount of money is now smaller. You have been diluted. And the only ones who really get screwed for the most part are retail traders and retail investors. So yeah, and Chris brings up a good point with warrants. So okay, so you get your offering, and let's go through warrants. Warrants are kind of like options. They give the investor the right, but not necessarily the obligation to convert those warrants into common shares of stock and sell them into the open market as well. They have to. So here's the thing about warrants: is same as the ATM at the market offering. It's not a be all end all. Okay, they can have an at the market. I've seen stocks with at the market offerings go nuts, and I've made money off of stocks that have current at the market offerings. It's just one indicator, and it's one of those. It's an indicator that is not good. I hate the fact that I could literally be buying new shares of a company for someone who bought them at $1.50 or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of getting away from what I'm trying to talk about, but warrants, they give them the right, not the obligation, to convert those shares to common stock and sell them. So yes, with just like an option, there's an exercise price. They call it strike price with options. With warrants, they have an exercise price, generally higher. Sometimes they're literally will be at the price they got the offering for, whatever it is. They usually will have expiration dates, which are usually far into the future. Sometimes there will be a limit on when they can exercise their options, but generally they're exercisable immediately, and they can be a real hindrance. People do like to short warrant levels. Stocks will gap down on once with the initial offering, and then stocks will usually fail to recover and get back above that warrant price. That's just kind of the general trend. Sometimes that's not the case, and they'll put out a good PR and get really, really good volume and blow through it, but it's a red flag, you know what I mean? And any red flag, especially to the long side, and on the same token, it's the opposite to the short side. It kind of, if you're looking to short sell, it will add to your conviction on the short side. Still have to be careful either way. So warrants are important, but they are not the be all end all. At the market offering is important, but it's not the be all end all. You can't just short an at the market offering. You can't just short warrant levels without being careful, because they can still go nuts. Warrants and at the market offerings are both contingent upon them actually selling, actually exercising and selling. So yeah, Himini's a great example of I mean, but that's like drastic dilution. Himini's drastic dilution. This is the worst kind. This is, death spiral financing. This chart, obviously it was never at 10 grand, but this chart is just taking it takes into account the reverse splits. Anytime I see a chart that shows me the stock was at 10K back October of last year, obviously you'll know it's a split, but early on I didn't. But these guys are now in, the worst kind of financing that you can do, and it's never going to recover, probably ever. We'll see. Dries, same type of thing. With all the stock splits, Dries was trading at 800K back in November of last year, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, 2 years ago. Even though we know it didn't, it's just crazy. So I hope that helped you a little bit, Mike. It's just a game of it's a red flag, and you don't want to be caught up in dilution ever. For the most part, you don't ever want to be caught up in dilution. It tilts the scales against you. Not only are there short sellers, not only are there organic long sellers who will sell because of this kind of news and not buy it again, but then you'll have investment banks eager to take, if an investment bank got has like 10 million shares of a company at $1, exercisable at $2, and it goes to $2, then you better believe they're going to use them. It's just a matter of when. So you just don't want to be there for that. Yeah, I think it should be illegal. Like Himini, Dries, all that kind of dilution and what happens there. And, you just have like execs putting money in their pockets. That should be illegal, but I'll take it. So let's get into some more tickers for today. TNXP, we went through that. TNXP does not look good to me. This thing's dead to me. I don't care what it does at this point. The catalyst is not good enough for me to really be excited until maybe we get to maybe tomorrow I'll be watching it for a pop. But like I said, I don't like, it's not a great catalyst. It's a possible kind of multi-day moving catalyst slowly, but I won't take it. PTIE, we went through the filings. We know that there's an at-the-market offering. The intraday chart's fine. Okay, the intraday chart's perfectly fine, especially if it holds 2 going into the close. This thing could close at its highs. I mean, wouldn't surprise me, but it also wouldn't surprise me for them to be selling into any morning volume tomorrow. So that at-the-market offering in this case, that's enough. That's enough for me to not take it overnight. Okay, so PTIE, good morning spike play, but with that at the market offering, even that would have concerned me this morning. I don't see a play going into close. CVSI, what a heartbreaker. I mean, this thing is just, in the 5s. It's in the 5s. Gritani should have held his 5 million shorts from $1, just a little longer. No play for me. Awesome little pull this morning back to the 450, and then, a sweet bounce. So yeah, CVSI is only a morning panic play to me and maybe a 2-day panic. I don't know. I think eventually this thing could panic even harder, We'll see. So no play for me there. I'll leave that to my OTC guys. CVSI, TIS still the most interesting to me heading into the close. Kind of volume dropped off a little bit. But in terms of the daily, this thing's holding up and I think could squeeze further. just dead squeeze. Like if this holds 260 going into close, like for the next, I don't know, I may even start building a small position, risking like 250, you know. It's holding the morning, it's holding a pretty key level if you look at this chart. So 15-minute chart, like you can see this, these are wicks here, but this 250 is going to be key in my opinion. If this thing can hold 250, then we could see a perk through 3 going into close. If it doesn't, then we're going to probably be heading back to 2 again, you know. So this for me, just technical analysis wise on this 15-minute chart, like as long as it's holding here at 250, that's going to be my risk. Because after that, you have to get down to 2. So for me, I think I may start building in here pretty soon. So I'm in a little early. I have 2,000 shares. I'm just gonna keep it really small. I'm getting a trade in. It's not a home run. I do like the fact that there's some room to run if we get through here, you know, into the 3s. My risk right now is 10 cents on these 2,000 shares. I'll cut 250. And then if it rips without me, so be it. No big deal. But I got a little TIS, just a little bit. And this thing could fail really easily. You know, there's not really great volume going in here. It's just a positional trade, very small positional trade for now. That's it. So I'll keep you guys posted on how what I'm doing with this thing. TIS, got a tiny little position, risking 250. PTI not touching, TNXP not touching, and I don't see too much else that gets me excited right now going into close. So TIS really my only watch. LMFA tried gapping up big yesterday. I think they reported earnings or something like that. Total dud this morning. I don't even have to look at it to, I mean, just dud. No play for me. Give me 1 sec, guys. Okay, we're back. So I've got 4,000 now at 259.73, 259.73 average. Added a little bit. I'll add if it gets back down a little bit here. Or if serious volume comes in, I might average up a tiny bit. Still keeping 250 as my risk for now. I want to see some volume come in. We got about 50 minutes left. Not too many potential plays that I see. Okay, one sec, I'll be right back in. All right. So just looking through scans, I don't see too much going on right now. I just have this real speculative kind of multi-day breakout play here going on. But it's not doing much. We'll see. Pretty liquid right now. That's why I have small size. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them out. I'm just watching for now. Yeah, I see Canadian weed stocks are all doing well. There's been, I actually heard something on the radio this morning, like just a random FM radio station. They were talking about like Budweiser and some of the bigger beverage companies now getting into the weed space because they're realizing there's a lot of people smoking weed and not drinking beers anymore. Chris is asking about the Cron chart, C-R-O-N. Yeah, I've traded Cron in the past. It's just not that volatile. Like, there's just not enough volatility for me here, you know? That's my main issue. You know, this isn't a chart I'm necessarily looking to trade. More of a swing chart, and it's just not that volatile. Like, that's my only issue with it. And that's a big issue for me. I'm looking for volatility, you know? CBD product sales exponentially increase as mainstream consumer adoption rates continue. Yeah, I mean, it could be a swing. Just, I'm not going to play it. No problem, Chris. PTI under 2. $190, $180. Yeah, I mean, with the at the market offering, this chart's not for me. LMFA is not for me. TIS, there's just no volume. So, I mean, I may have to cut. No big deal. I may even cut preemptively. But I'll try to stick to my risk for now. One sec, guys. All right, so TIS is coming down to my risk level, basically. 250 held for now. If 250 snaps again, I'll cut it. My guess is it snaps. It's just not doing enough volume to warrant any move to the upside yet. Excuse me. So tomorrow we'll get a market open in, and possibly market close, since we haven't been able to get to an open this week. So we'll do an open tomorrow morning. Yeah, super bored. No, I haven't cut TIS yet. I'm sticking to the plan. Now, at this point, it's just 50-50. I mean, 250 could break down. I'll take my tiny loss. Just kind of dead volume. And I saw that going into the trade, which is why I only took a couple thousand shares. Probably going back to 2. Especially with the overall markets down. I mean, doesn't give me great hope. Just no buyers, no volume. Yep. Yeah, I'm getting close to cutting. David asked, could we do a lesson on level 2? Yeah, we'll do level 2. Maybe next week we'll dedicate to level 2. Because it is important. It's really important. So we will get into that. I'll start doing like put my P&L on level 2 up on the stream, and we'll get into that. And once again, level 2, same thing. It's not be all end all. You know, it's just another. It's just another tool, just like everything else. But an important one. Sorry, guys, another boring one today so far. Obviously, closes will be more boring than opens for the most part. Yeah, I mean, TIS, it's going to do what it's going to do at this point. Just no volume. Just need volume. So how do I feel about it? Not great. I want to see. I hate being in any position where there's no liquidity, but small position, not a big deal. Yeah, my plan's either cut before the close or swing overnight. If I'm in a position where I'm either going to cut in the close or swing overnight, I'm most likely going to cut it. If that makes sense. It shouldn't. If you're getting into an overnight trade, it really shouldn't be a question as to whether or not you want to cut it before close or swing it overnight. If that's the question, then most likely you need to cut it before close, and that's how I go about it. $25 more minutes here. All right, so we got a little perk here on TIS. Let's see if it can get some real volume come in now. It needs to sustain itself, this move. So I need more volume to come in, obviously. If we can close up by its highs, then maybe kind of push up towards 3 into the close. That would be fantastic. Come on now. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, it's not there yet, but it's promising that we've got about 20 minutes left and it's perking up 10 cents off the close, so we'll see. There's not too much in play right now with PTI kind of just hanging in there with that at the market offering, obviously. There's just not much else out there. So this might get that kind of end of day push from the crowd. I actually grabbed a couple thousand shares on that perk, so I'm up to 6K now at 260. Come on now, let's push through. Let's just push through high a day for daddy. That'd be great. Joe asked, when my account was small, did I trade on margin? Yes. Do I recommend it? Not necessarily. I got lucky a couple times. You know, margin can magnify your wins and losses. But there was a period when I got to, I think, like 15K in my account or so, where I was using margin. I kind of had a grip on what I was doing. And I was just using it to be able to trade some of the higher price stocks a little bit. Obviously, you have to be super careful. Like if you can trade not on margin, obviously you have to have a margin account. But if you can trade without using margin, it's much better. It's much safer. So kind of some funky action here on TIS, but that's partially because it's still pretty illiquid. Like volume did pick up, but there's a little bit of funky action there. But I'm sitting pretty. I'm in a good position here, so. Anyways, Joe, you got to be careful with margin because like I said, I mean, yeah, it can help grow your account because you can take bigger size, but it can also do the opposite. So I'll say I don't recommend it, but I've done it in the past. You know, yeah. No, I never set a stop loss for after hours trading. I always watch. If I'm at after hours, I always keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's you have to keep an eye on it. You know, on the off chance that for some reason maybe your stop doesn't get executed or whatever else it is, you want to be ready. All we're missing is a little bit of volume. Get that actual squeeze going here end of day. I mean, if you shorted this thing at 280 today, which some people did, it hasn't traded heavily. You could get a decent squeeze. Just got to get over 280 here. I'm already itching to take a little bit off. Just in case this fails. You know, it is a little bit of liquid. There are still some bids there I can hit if need be. But I'm going to try to be really patient here and try to swing some overnight if possible. Yeah, everyone, if you're typing symbols, just put it in all caps. You don't have to do the little dollar sign, but it'll be easier to find if we're doing that. This may be the top here for TIS. We'll see. We will see. Come on now. Come on now. You people want overnights. You know it. You know you want the overnight. So I had to order a couple orders not get filled at 252 and 254. I'm just taking them off here. Because if it gets back down there, I'm not going to want to buy it necessarily. But yeah, everyone, when you're typing tickers, all caps. Be much easier to see. Definitely going to need a little bit more volume here. You know, about 10 minutes left. Yeah, sure. I'm glad we have a couple females in here. I would love to have one of you guys or both of you just like blow up. That'd be great. I think the space needs like some really good female traders. There's just not many of them. I mean, none that I personally know of. I know there's a good swing trader over from Investors Underground, but come on now. Come on now. Lego. Just go ahead. Yeah, I mean, what's 283? Just let's get through it. Come on. Problem is, if no volume comes in, anyone sizing in on 280 is just going to get, you know, it's not going to get through if there are any shorts taking size on this, which is a possibility. You know, 280 is a pretty solid risk right now on TIS as well. I wouldn't personally be shorting it today, you know, with risk of a gap up tomorrow, but come on, volume. This might be the end of the road. I might take a little bit off here. Only 10 minutes left. Definitely needs volume. Looking a little stuffy, and with only 7 minutes left, it should be doing more volume than this. That's what concerns me. So I took some off just a little bit. Realized a couple $100 there just to calm my nerves. I'm getting a little nervy here. So I've locked in 400 bucks, and now I can kind of chill out. I'm contemplating whether or not to swing the rest. I kind of don't like the idea of it now. I just don't want to be watching too closely after hours. So we'll see. I've got a lot of work to do today. It may not be worth it for me to hold this. All right, so I'm down to 2,000 shares. And I could pretty comfortably swing this in this scenario, so. I just don't feel like babysitting a trade after hours, especially it's not very liquid. This is something I may consider tomorrow. Or I may just swing these last 2,000 shares. I'm not sure. So just took the rest off. Only made about 450 bucks. But I'm okay with it. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing, and I just don't feel like babysitting this after hours. This is something I would definitely consider holding after hours. You know, I would not, I'm not saying that I wouldn't hold this after hours. I just don't want to right now. I'm not going to be able to watch it. I don't want to risk some gap down that I can't be present for, so. A little stuffy. One of my top watches going into tomorrow, though. I'll definitely be watching this one again. I'll be watching TIS going into tomorrow. PTIE I'm not really interested in. Same with TNXP. So hopefully we'll get something new to work on in the morning. I'll be on in the morning. We'll get a webinar in, so we'll just we'll try to start like 15-20 minutes before market open because we still haven't gotten to that process yet. So we will. But we're going to wrap it up for today. Nothing going in at close that's really awesome. Nothing that excites me that much. So looks like there's some good weed stock swings happening. I haven't capitalized on them. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning, 15 minutes before market open. Hopefully we'll get some tickers going, and I'll see you guys in chat later. Have a good one, guys. Bye.